It came down yesterday that his potential 4-game suspension had been reduced to 2. And the first person to actually break that news was our own Kirk Herbstreit, who put that out there on Twitter. So for more on everything in college football related, let's bring in our fine college football analyst, Kirk Herbstreit. Herbie, listen, what did you think of when you got the news that the suspension for Chase Young was going to be for the last game, which was against Maryland, and this upcoming game against Rutgers, and then back for the final 2 games before the Big Ten championship?
Kind of what I expected, and from what talking to some of the folks at Ohio State last week when this story broke, I think they were pretty confident once the NCAA heard Chase's story and the fact that he was forthcoming, the fact that Ohio State sat him immediately. They did everything that they're supposed to do, and I think the NCAA likes to send a message in as many cases as they can to other institutions and to other players. And if you make a mistake, the way Chase did, and own it, and in his case he repaid the money that was loaned to him, and the fact that there weren't any other red flags helped a lot to do with the number being reduced down to 2. The other thing to take into consideration is I've heard people say, well, he's sitting out Maryland and Rutgers. The timing of this was he had 4 sacks against Wisconsin. And whoever the individual was that decided to let the NCAA be aware of Chase Young taking money, they decided for whatever reason to come out after the 4-sack, huge national attention for him individually. And I don't know whatever a vendetta or whatever there was there, but that was the timing of it. So the next couple games just happened to be that they were playing Maryland and then Rutgers this week, and that's why it ended up being 2 games. And they get him back for the last 2 against Penn State and Michigan.
Talking to Kirk Herbstreit with us, host on College Game Day, also host of the College Football Podcast with Herbie and Pollock in all of this. And so, Kirk, after this one, we're safe to say there are no more ramifications for this for Chase Young. It will be free and clear from here on out and for the remainder of the season for him in Ohio State.
Yeah, I think from here on out, it's kind of, as far as Ohio State's concerned, they got the final verdict from the NCAA, and now they'll prepare to get ready for Rutgers, which obviously you guys have watched Rutgers play this year. That will not be a problem. That will not be a problem. And then it's go time their last couple games. Chase Young will be a part of that. They'll need not only his playmaking ability, but especially, he's the alpha. He's that guy in the room. You guys been in locker rooms, obviously, and that guy, and he's that guy. And so he's not just a playmaker. He helps set a tone in practice. He helps set a tone in the weight room. And obviously he helps set a tone on a Saturday when you're playing in big games against great teams like Penn State and Michigan. So big news for Ohio State to not only get the best player maybe in the country, but also to get a guy that is so instrumental to kind of the pulse of this team that's been playing with an edge, to their credit, really from week 1 all the way through, even last week. And like I said, having him back, I think, is as important to the temperament of this team as it is to him coming up with sacks.
Herbie, the second week of the committee putting out the rankings came out. So instead of going individual things, let me first get, what was your overall, maybe most surprising thing or biggest thing to you when those rankings came out?
I think we all anticipated LSU going to 1, which they did. They should be at 1. We all were anxious to see where Alabama would drop after losing at home to LSU in a great game. Everybody talked about Tua being banged up. Would the committee take that into consideration? Even though he threw for over 400 yards, they dropped down to 5. I thought Georgia would move into that top 4 going into their game on the Plains this week against Auburn. The big question for me was Minnesota. How far up would they go from 17? Was it such an impressive win, taking advantage of the big stage, really looking like a complete team against a great opponent? And I thought they might be a little higher. I personally had them at 6. I think they end up at 8 this week. So
yes.
If I'm a Minnesota fan, guys, I'm like, 8. I thought we'd be higher. But at the same time, look, they've got Iowa this week, who's a ranked team. They've got Wisconsin coming up. If they keep winning all those games, they still have a big one, in the Big Ten championship. More than likely they could be, who knows, playing Ohio State, who could maybe be number 2. So everything is in front of Minnesota. So as much as they would love to be higher, the fact that they have such a big slate of games ahead of them only works out to their advantage.
Minnesota's win over Penn State brought mayhem to college football playoff rankings. Mayhem Moments are brought to you by Allstate. Allstate knows that football season is mayhem. That's why they're reminding fans that if mayhem can show up on game day, imagine what can happen the rest of the week. So get better protected with Allstate. College Game Day's own Kirk Herbstreit joining us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Herbie, the question on everyone's mind after this weekend, it was the game of the century that lived up to all the hype, as you mentioned. No shock that LSU moved to number 1, but for Alabama now sitting at 5, are they out of this thing, barring some sort of major change in the landscape?
Yeah, I don't think they're out of it. I said on game day last week that if they lost, I thought they would be out of it. But I think they're in the discussion. I don't think they lost, done, they're out. I do think it's going to be hard for them, even though they're sitting at 5. And let's say Georgia loses to Auburn this week, and everybody gets excited, for Alabama fans. They're okay, we're going to move to 4, and if we beat Auburn, we're going to stay at 4. If I'm an Alabama fan, I'm worried about championship weekend because, as we've seen in the past, that's when the committee could potentially look at a Big 12 champion. If it's an undefeated Baylor, it's a one-loss Oklahoma. I especially think the Pac-12 champion, where you could potentially have one-loss Oregon and one-loss Utah going head-to-head in a matchup in the Pac-12 championship on a Friday night. If those teams meet, that's where I think the potential debate is. Is it a one-loss Bama with an only loss to LSU? They don't go to Atlanta in the SEC championship, and then you're sitting there comparing them in that cluster with a Pac-12 champion and a Big 12 champion. That's where eventually this has worked out in the past for Bama.
What's up? Thank you so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. Don't forget to download the ESPN app, and if you want more premium content, which you do, make sure that you subscribe to ESPN+. See you soon.